स्वागत है आपका टाउन हॉल इवेंट में। रिजर्व बैंक ऑफ इंडिया के गवर्नर और सभी डेप्यूटी गवर्नर्स जनता के सामने जनता के सवालों के जवाब देते हुए, वो शख्स जिनके दस्तखत हर नोट पर आप देखते हैं और सोचते हैं कि ये आपके बजट को बिगाड़ते हैं, तोड़ते हैं, बढ़ाते हैं, घटाते हैं, उनसे आप सीधे सवाल कर सकते हैं। एबीपी न्यूज के इस टाउन हॉल इवेंट में हमारे साथ हैं खुद आरबीआई के गवर्नर डॉक्टर सुब्बाराव, हमारे साथ हैं सभी डेप्यूटी गवर्नर्स डॉक्टर चक्रवर्ती, डॉक्टर गोकर्ण, हमारे साथ हैं श्री अनिल सिन्हा और श्री एचआर खान साहब। तो आप सभी का स्वागत है टाउन हॉल में। और हमारे साथ हैं टाउन हॉल में पुदुचेरी के स्टूडेंट्स। गवर्नर साहब, पहले तो आप स्टूडेंट्स को ये बताएं कि व्हाई आर वी हियर?
The purpose of the town hall meeting is to connect with young students like yourselves for a two-way communication, to understand your hopes and aspirations, and in the process also tell you something about the Reserve Bank so that we can demystify the Reserve Bank. Why with students? That's quite obvious. In India, the median age of our population is 25. So if we do not understand what people below age 25, what they think, what they want, what they hope for, what they aspire to, we're not understanding half the country. You are the future of the country. So in the Reserve Bank, we need to understand you.
हम शुरू करते हैं पहले सवाल से। द फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन।
मैं दिलीप कुमार दास, डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ मैनेजमेंट स्टडीज़ पांडिचेरी यूनिवर्सिटी से। सर, मेरा सवाल है कि मल्टी ब्रांड रिटेल सेक्टर को 51% FDI के लिए खोलना हमारी अर्थव्यवस्था के लिए कहाँ तक लाभदायक है?
It will help consumers in the sense that they will get better quality products, presumably at lower prices per unit of quality. It will help producers by giving them better price. After all, people say that 40% of what we produce in the country, in the farm sector especially, is perishing because it doesn't reach the market. So producers will get better price, and it will improve employment. You know, along the supply chain, there would be employment. Of course, there is understandable concerns about what it might do for established kirana merchants, grocery stores, the neighborhood stores that we now depend on, a lot of employment that it gives. But in the long term, I believe that it's good for the economy.
Good evening, sir. I'm from Department of Management Studies, Pondicherry University. सर, मेरा सिंपल सा सवाल है, कितने नोट छापने चाहिए, वो फैक्टर आप कैसे डिसाइड करते हैं?
चक्रवर्ती साहब डिसाइड करते हैं, वो बताएंगे।
देखिए, ये जो है कितना नोट छपना चाहिए, ये डिसाइड करना रियली तकलीफ है। आपने आप जो बता रहे हैं, व्हाट यू आर सेइंग, इट इज अ डिफिकल्ट थिंग, बट वी हैव आवर डिपार्टमेंट, स्टैटिस्टिक्स डिपार्टमेंट, DSIM, दे यूज द मॉडलिंग सिस्टम कि व्हाट इज द पॉपुलेशन, व्हाट इज द बिहेवियरल पैटर्न, सम पैरामीटर, उसके बेस्ड ऑन दैट they project what is the number of notes necessary. You see, it is linked to the total GDP of the nation, many other things, population of the country, number of bank branches. तो हमारे पास model available है, based on that they project. मगर the problem is that these models are all dependent on the behavioral pattern. वो जो है behavioral pattern we are not able to identify always. So there always remains some deficiency.
The policy is that people must have clean currency notes. Of course, that's, there are deficiencies in that, in the sense that especially in villages, people do not get clean notes. But the idea is to print enough currencies so that even in villages, people have clean notes.
How is it related to inflation? महंगाई से इसका कुछ relation है?
वो भी है।
Yes, of course.
महंगाई है, इनकम बढ़ रहा है, और सर ने जो बताया नोट कितना वापस आ जा रहा है, we also take back the notes which are not in the circulation. All these are put into the modeling. And how the people, you see, the people are moving from the cash To the electronic payment, the number will come down. But at the same time, if we are increasing our banking facilities, more people are going to reaching to the bank, then use of the cash. Then
If the number of notes in circulation is more than what it should be, तब क्या होता है?
You see, तब demand नहीं होगा. People will not ask for that.
Especially to villages, we must send clean notes. In towns, I know that you get reasonably good notes. In Puducherry, you get good notes? Huh? Okay, very good. I hope all your audience across the country hears this.
Good evening, sir. I am Senadipati from MBA Banking Technology, Pondicherry University. My question is that why reforms are initiated only at the time of crisis?
You know, please sit down, Senadipati. This thing about this notion that reforms are done only under pressure, I don't think it's correct notion. It's not an accurate inference. We tend to notice reforms more when the economy is under pressure. But of course, you can have your own judgment on this.
Probably because the Prime Minister referred to 1991 in his speech.
The PM indeed did refer to 1991 and say that if we do not do anything, there would be another crisis. Certainly, the economy has been under pressure over the last 1 year. But the larger question is, it's not as if reforms are done only when under pressure. There have been a lot of reforms over the last 20 years, even when the economy was sailing along on an even keel.
Good evening, sir. I am Avirup Mukherjee from Department of Economics, Pondicherry University. Sir, we have studied that when inflation is there, we should have an increasing CRR. But in the recent past, we have seen that with high inflation also, there was a decrease in CRR. So how is this? And we are fortunate to have Dr. Chakravarti over here, who has been speaking about this.
Yes.
So.
First, I know that you're fond of Dr. Chakravarti, but I will request Dr. Subir Gokan to answer that question first.
Liquidity is a big reason why financial systems break down, why financial institutions stop lending money to even legitimate, even credit-worthy customers, because they find liquidity under extreme pressure. And so what we're trying to do is manage liquidity within reasonable bounds so that this disruption does not take place. So the CRR, even though it's an inflationary situation, the CRR has been used to fine-tune liquidity and manage it within those acceptable boundaries.
Only one point only I will say very briefly. You see, look,
Please sit down.
it is not correct to say that when inflation is very high, we have reduced the CRR. In fact, inflation was 10-11%, and CRR reduction has started when inflation has come down. Now, that inflation is high or not, that my colleague has already explained, that liquidity will be given. But to say that it has been done, that is factually incorrect. Only that much I will say. That CRR is reduced when the inflation came down. You see around 7% or around that, or 8%. Now, whether that inflation is high or low, that's a different issue. And there are other compulsions which are doing to that. That's the only point I will say that.
The core debate of inflation versus growth.
Yes.
You used the CRR tool this time so that growth is not stifled? Would we say that?
Well, that too, yes. But as Subir explained, first of all, we struggle with this growth inflation balance because to stimulate growth, you need low interest rates. But to control inflation, you need to keep interest rates firm. So you cannot have two interest rates. You have only one interest rate, the policy rate of the Reserve Bank. We have to draw the balance between stimulating growth and controlling inflation. Then the variables available to us are the policy rate, which is the repo rate, and CRR. The policy repo rate controls the price of money. The CRR controls both the price of money and the volume of money. And we need to use both those variables appropriately in our judgment to draw the right balance between growth and inflation.
But when the government says that the RBI and the government need to march in the same direction, what do we expect?
Well, that you will see as we move along, but the idea is that both government and RBI must have a shared understanding of the growth inflation situation and must have shared goals about where we want to get. And the government has to do everything, and the Reserve Bank has to do the monetary policy, and the expectation is that they will work synergistically.
तो देखा आपने, भले ही आपका खाता ना हो रिजर्व बैंक में, लेकिन नाता आपके जीवन का हमेशा बना रहता है रिजर्व बैंक के साथ। रिजर्व बैंक के गवर्नर, डेप्यूटी गवर्नर्स सब हमारे साथ बने हुए हैं एबीपी न्यूज पर। आप देख रहे हैं टाउन हॉल, जल्द लौट रहे हैं। आप देख रहे हैं टाउन हॉल और हमारे साथ हैं खुद आरबीआई रिजर्व बैंक के गवर्नर और सभी डेप्यूटी गवर्नर्स यहाँ पुदुचेरी में, जहां हैं पुदुचेरी के स्टूडेंट्स जो लगातार पूछ रहे हैं बड़े बड़े मुश्किल सवाल गवर्नर साहब से और डेप्यूटी गवर्नर से।
Good evening, sir. My name is Sarta Yusul. I am from Department of Economics, Pondicherry University. Despite the RBI's directive, many private banks reject ATM cards of other banks, especially towards month end. What steps can RBI initiate to reduce consumer hardship?
Is that happening only towards the month end or all the time?
Towards the month end.
Month end, maybe you don't have money in your account. That's why you're getting, ATM is coming blank. But I really don't understand. There are problems with ATM, but I don't know if there are special problems towards the month end.
I don't know. You are not getting cash or ATM says that is. That month end, many times, many ATMs will be not having cash. And that is, banks are not able to do that. Maybe that may be the reason. Or what sir said, that you don't have money in your account, so you will not get the money. So it will refuse. Beyond that, it is electronic device. It cannot happen that some problem will happen only at the month end. It can happen any time. That's it. But take care that when you go to ATM, you must have money also in your account.
So the problem is not private versus public. It is month end demand cash depleting, or you may not be having balance in your account. So that is the issue. There is nothing to do with public sector or private sector.
Now, all of us have told him that he has no balance in his account. Poor fellow must be getting worried.
That a lot of people get SMS that you have got a lottery, 5,000 pounds, 6,000 pounds, 2 million, and you quite often say it comes in the name of Dr. Subbarao, governor, that he is holding money in place in the name of you. You deposit 5,000, afterwards processing fee 10,000. So these are all bogus, fictitious, and hoax emails and SMS. So I will only encourage you to disregard them, lodge complaint with cyber cell, and alert your friends and other family members not to fall prey to this.
Good evening, sir. I am Aritra Goswami from Pondicherry University, Economics Department. My question is, at present the food inflation have risen a lot. So what are the steps taken by the RBI to control it or to reduce it?
Addressing food inflation is largely within the domain of the government, because the only way to solve or ease food constraint is to produce more. We need to produce more milk, more eggs, more vegetables, more fruit, more meat. And that has to be done by the government, and the government has initiated some steps towards easing that. One of the objectives or one of the expectations is that FDI and retail will also reduce the wastage and therefore improve availability and at good price. From the Reserve Bank side, the concern is that if food inflation persists for a long time, that hardens inflation expectations. When people think that inflation is going to be high, inflation will actually be high. So from our side, from the monetary policy side, our endeavor is to break those inflation expectations so that they do not get entrenched.
The other sectors which affect inflation, they complain about interest rates, and those interest rates are high because of food inflation. So how do we resolve this?
Well, as I said, there is this growth inflation dynamics, and again I can only reiterate what I said earlier. The endeavor of the Reserve Bank is to strike the right balance between the demands of accelerating growth and the demands of restraining inflation. Restraining inflation means that we need to keep the interest rate firm or high. Stimulating growth means that we need to reduce the interest rate so that people invest more people consume more. And that's the difficult challenge, which we agonize over all the time.
I'm Anita from Rajeshwari College. My question is, 10 rupees coins has been released and hidden. Why the government has not released some more coins of 10 rupees?
How many of you have ever seen a 10 rupee coin? Okay. How many of you don't have enough of them?
Do you ever ask in the bank that you require 10 rupee coin?
Anita, have you asked? Huh?
You see, banks, look, now I say, we have 76 crores of 10 rupee coin in circulation. And in fact, banks say that they don't want, people don't want. That's why we are still using the 10 rupee note. Now, there are various issues. We try to improve the capacity of the coin. We are also trying that how do we withdraw the 10 rupee note so that people are forced to do that. So these are all the measures. But at the same time, you also must demand 10 rupee coin.
You're all too young to have seen a 1 rupee note. How many of you have seen a 1 rupee note? How come? You all have preserved some 1 rupee notes. You know, I used to work in the Ministry of Finance in the early 90s when we were withdrawing the 1 rupee note. And one of the concerns, one of the grievances against withdrawal of the 1 rupee note is that it's used in marriages, especially in Tamil Nadu. Mostly, but the complaints were largely from Tamil Nadu, saying that we need to use a 1 rupee note in our wedding. How can you withdraw this? And I don't think any Tamil wedding manual or any Veda has written that you must use a 1 rupee note, right? They may have said that you must use money or whatever, but I don't know if the prescription was a 1 rupee note. But of course, that's been withdrawn and people have adjusted to that.
पेज वहीं फंसा हुआ है कि महंगाई कम हो तो ब्याज दरें कम की जाएं या ब्याज दरें कम हो जिससे महंगाई कम हो। गवर्नर साहब कह रहे हैं कि महंगाई कम होने पर ही ब्याज दरें कम की जाएंगी। हमारे साथ बने हुए हैं खुद आरबीआई के गवर्नर और सभी डेप्यूटी गवर्नर्स। आप देख रहे हैं टाउन हॉल एबीपी न्यूज पर। जल्द लौट रहे हैं। आप देख रहे हैं टाउन हॉल, आरबीआई के गवर्नर और सभी डिप्टी गवर्नर्स हमारे साथ हैं यहाँ पुदुचेरी में, और सवाल वहीं घूम फिर के पहुंच रहा है। कहीं जमीन तो कहीं आसमान नहीं मिलता, कभी किसी को मुकम्मल जहां नहीं मिलता, सब कुछ नहीं मिल सकता। या तो ब्याज दरों के बल पर इकोनॉमी को बढ़ाया जाए या महंगाई की चिंता को हाथ में रखा जाए, और वही मुश्किल है रिजर्व बैंक की भी। चलिए सवालों का सिलसिला फिर से शुरू करते हैं।
So myself Prabhat from DMS Pondicherry University. So when we go for the education loan to the private sector banks especially, the interest rates are high and the ease of getting the loans is very difficult. In a way, it's like we don't give you education loans. Try for some public sector banks. And public sector banks also, they want to make sure that this loan is completely covered by some security or some collateral.
Yeah.
Only then they give us this loan. So if we need a loan at all, why should we give a collateral?
Government of India is now working on a guarantee scheme for loans up to 7.5 lakh rupees, where there is no third-party guarantee, where there is no collateral. There would be a guarantee scheme built so that there is a guarantee given by the government under that scheme. That's yet to be launched. Hopefully that will come and resolve some of these issues.
It is not a rule that we are directing that everybody must get the education loan. You cannot give a loan system, cannot be operated like that. It has to be a legitimate business by the bank. We can encourage something. That's the thing.
Sir, this is Zakir Hussain from Pondicherry Central University. My question is, what is your opinion regarding Islamic banking? Will India can benefit from Islamic banking?
The Reserve Bank's position is that the Banking Regulation Act, as it is written now, does not allow Islamic banking, because banks are required to borrow money from the Reserve Bank. Banks sometimes deposit money with the Reserve Bank. When they borrow money from us, we charge them interest. When they deposit money with us under the reverse repo window, we pay them interest. Islamic banking does not permit that. So there is inconsistency, between the Banking Regulation Act and Islamic banking. We are in correspondence with the government to see how our laws can be restructured or amended or new laws framed which are consistent with Islamic banking.
सर अभी के लिए देखा गया है कि इन्फ्लेशन अभी चढ़ रहा है और साथ ही साथ स्टैगफ्लेशन भी उसी के साथ बढ़ रहा है, तो आरबीआई का इसके ऊपर क्या राय है? मतलब स्टैगफ्लेशन को वो लोग कंट्रोल कर पाएंगे या फिर स्टैगफ्लेशन अभी और बढ़ेगा?
No, our endeavor, our effort, and our expectation is that inflation will come down and will remain steady. RBI's goal is to bring down inflation, maintain it at low and steady level, and to accelerate growth, and that's what we will try to achieve.
सबने इतनी बार क्राइसिस 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 बोला, आपको क्या लगता है क्राइसिस है?
Well, around the world there has been a crisis. Just last month we marked the 4th anniversary of the collapse of Lehman Brothers, and even though in 2010 we thought that we'd come out of a crisis, I'm talking about the whole world, the crisis is still with us. And the impact of that crisis is being felt in India in several ways. So for us to come out of a crisis, the world has to come out of a crisis.
Thank you very much, पुदुचेरी. ये थे पुदुचेरी के स्टूडेंट्स जिनके सवालों के जवाब दे रहे थे खुद आरबीआई के गवर्नर और सभी डेप्यूटी गवर्नर्स. थैंक यू गवर्नर और थैंक यू डेप्यूटी गवर्नर्स. आप सभी का बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. एबीपी न्यूज पर आप देख रहे थे ये खास पेशकश रिजर्व बैंक ऑफ इंडिया का टाउन हॉल.